You have stable over in here somewhere, right?
Okay, somewhere. So when we approach this now, you kind of have an idea of how you're supposed to do this problem. Yeah. It begins PI equals PF. But what is the difference between this problem, example problems we just did? Yeah, this is two-dimensional. So we're going to get PIX equals PFX, and PI equals PI, just kidding, PFY. So with that said, so yeah, in case we didn't remember from yesterday, this was 8 meters per second. Did they give us the mass for the pucks? They just said they're all the same, right? Yeah, so just, okay. So what we're gonna do first, these vectors. All right, and I'm gonna write it out so we can kind of see. So I'm gonna say VR, let's say VRY is equal to VR, and then I'll say cosine 30, and then VRX is equal to VR sine 30. And then over here, I'll say VGY is VG sine 60. And then I'll say VGX, VG sine, just kidding, cosine 60. Now, did I confuse anybody with that? Did I lose anybody with that? Is everybody cool with that? I'm just cracking the vectors. We've done that a million times. That's all I'm doing. Eric? Okay. So now I'm going to say, what was the momentum in the x direction for this collision? I'm going to say 0. The momentum after has to be 0, but now two things are moving. So what I've got to do is I've got to say m times VRX plus m times y. Everybody go with that? And of course, I can divide everything out, right? I can divide out all the masses. And so what I'm going to get is VRX is equal to negative VRY. Or, why? Hello? Somebody should have said that makes no sense. Man.
That makes no sense.
Okay.
That makes no sense.
Okay, sense, I hope.
Isn't it G?
No.
Okay, again, that makes no sense.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Yeesh. All right, that should be VGX. This is VGX there. Okay, from the size of relief, I see that makes more sense.
Vector for VGY and VGX, what sign is this?
I'm again?
For VGY and VGX, is it the other way around with the?
VG. Good, man, what's going on with me today? My brain is being dysfunctional this morning. Yeah, so VGY should sign, and this should be sign. Thanks.
A lot better.
Does that make more sense? Everybody good? Please say something right away so that we don't go 5 steps down and then I realize I made a mistake.
Or someone says, oh wait.
Yeah. Okay. So now we can say VRX is going to be VR sine 30, and VGX is going to be VG sine 60. Okay. So that doesn't get us anywhere, right? But we took it as far as we could go. Okay, and so now this I'll just call V0, if you will. Now let's go ahead and do Yeah, thank you. Yes, very good, thank you. See, good, stay on top of that. Everybody with me? Okay, so let's say in the Y, we know that we have M V0, and that's going to equal M VRY plus M VR. Oh, that one I caught myself, that's good. VGY.
At the haircut.
Yeah, maybe. My hair is sucking all intelligence out of my head.
Because then last year when he got a haircut, he started fixing his own problems and figuring out what he did wrong. And
Anecdotal evidence at best. Let's move on. So we cancel our m's, right? And so we have v0 is equal to, and vry is going to be vr cos 30, and vgy is going to be that's a g cosine 60. You could do something, we could say VR is equal to VG sine 60 over sine 30. Okay? And now we can plug that in.
Negative.
What's it?
Negative.
Negative,
Negative.
negative. I really don't want to use that negative for some reason. I don't know. It's negative, I guess. So if we plug that in, we get VG, negative VG, negative VG sine 60 over sine 30, cos 30, plus G cos 60. Okay, and now we know all these numbers, I can just factor it out. So if I factor out VG, now I can say VG is equal to V0 divided by sine 60 over sine 30 times cos 30 cos 60. Now it's just a matter of adding all those together.
Where'd you get the plus 60?
It's from this. There. From the VGY. That's good. Ask those, because clearly I'm making mistakes. So if I do this,
Like on the negative sine 30 or sine 30.
yeah, this one should be negative. Very good. So I'm gonna make sure I keep that clear when I do that. So this becomes V0, which is 8, divided by, it's gonna be negative sine of 60 is 0.866, divided by sine of 30, which is 30, which is cosine of 30, which is 0.866. Plus the cosine of 60, which is 0.5. Okay, and I got this as to be around 2.
What degrees?
So I got this answer as being 4 meters per second. So VG is 4 meters per second.
You just say about 2.
No, I said I got this junk under here to be
Oh, that was
about 2.
Okay.
And then that 8 divided by 2 gives me 4. Now I can take that 4 and just plug it in over here, and V should be should be 4 times the sine of 60, which is 0.866, divided by the sine of 30, which is 0.5, and I get basically negative 7 or whatever, 7. So the magnitude of this over here is 7, and that one's 4. And the negatives, the negatives. And that is that. Okay, so is everybody, it can't be 8.
But down there is
Okay,
negative 1.
V0 is 8. So this down here, let's take a look at the math real quick and see if we can find a mistake here. So if I do this again, VG is equal to 8 over, and then this is the sine of 60 is 0.866, sine of 30 is 0.5, and of 30 is 0.866, and then I add cosine of 60 is 0.5. Okay, so what do you get when you do this all on the bottom? So, there, negative 0.866, 0.866, 9.25, no, 1, okay. That's bizarre.
What do we do? What's the answer in the book?
The answer in the book is 4 and 7, isn't it?
Yes.
Oh, oh well, I don't know.
It was in the beginning, he did something.
What happened?
Oh, isn't MVR supposed to be negative?
MVR.
On the,
On here?
below, PIX equals PF, up there?
Here?
Yeah, yeah. Because they're going two different directions.
Oh, yeah.
Shouldn't that be negative?
I think that's actually
Legit.
good point.
So if that's negative, that becomes
Well,
positive.
this
If that's
is-
positive,
These are.
then it goes here, then that makes that 2.
It's like momentum's like you can't have a negative momentum.
Yeah, you can have a negative momentum, just like you can have a negative velocity.
Oh.
Oh, I guess if we're looking at this, we would have to say, oh, I know what it is. We don't have to put this as negative here, but here, this is negative, oops. Like when you fill that in, we should have said negative VR or something. That should have been a negative. That's the thing. Nice job. This down here, this becomes positive, and then that makes it 4, and that makes it 4, and then they become the right answers. So then this just becomes, magnitude.
So maybe that's why you wanted to get rid of it.
Yeah. But that, do you see what it, so this is actually a correct sort of statement, that VRX has to equal negative VGX. That has to be true. But from the diagram, when we break it and make it go this way, made this one positive, that one has to be negative. So when we plug this in, that should have been negative. That was, so then that negative would cancel with that one. So just a little sort of reference orientation switch.
From the very beginning, you were right. Your instincts are telling you to get rid of it.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, questions? All right, there you go.